Now, all this week on Money Talks, we're looking at the economic crisis that's unfolding in the US territory of Puerto Rico. 10 years of recession and mounting debts have led to the loss of almost 270,000 jobs. And now many people on the island face a tough choice to either stay and keep trying or to leave. Many are choosing the latter, as our reporter Charlotte Dubenskij has been finding out.
It looks like a busy day in Puerto Rico's capital, San Juan. But the bustling crowd is a facade, scratched below the surface, and it's plain to see how this city is changing. Since 2010, 10% of the population has left, most for the US, and it's a trend being mirrored across the island.
At this point, in the first half of the decade, about 250,000 people have left. So projecting that to the end of the decade, we would certainly be talking about a ballpark figure of about 500,000 people in just a single decade.
With a population of just over 3.5 million, that would be a huge blow. Many of those leaving are professionals, creating a so-called brain drain. And when they leave, so do their families.
This is one of more than 100 schools that have closed in Puerto Rico because of a lack of students and a lack of funding. And in the last 5 years, the population aged 19 and under has reduced here by almost a fifth.
That's hit teacher numbers.
Well, we have less jobs. It's difficult to be a teacher here because you don't know if you are going to have a job next year. We have students that wanted to become teachers, and because of these situations, they are changing.
Jobs in general are becoming scarce.
Your name on the applicant and the social security number.
And employers from the US are actively recruiting those willing to leave. 24-year-old Beatriz Gobaya is one of the lucky ones. She moved to Florida a year ago after being offered a job in the finance industry.
It's really bad. I mean, I have friends that have told me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. They've cut out my hours. They're cutting people in my office. I'm scared. I feel I'm being cut out next. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my car. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent.
Back in San Juan, the daily grind continues, but the concern is that as the population drops, less money will be generated in taxes, and that could further destabilize the island's already fragile economy.
And Charlotte joins me now from the capital, San Juan. Charlotte, we just saw in your package there a lot of the intelligent and high earners leaving Puerto Rico. What does that do to the government in terms of raising taxes and revenues and spending?
Well, as you mentioned, professionals have been leaving the island in their droves. That's what experts have been telling me over the last few days. And when we look at the projections, around 500,000 people due to leave the island by the end of this decade. That is a significant portion of this 3.5 million population of an island. So that means less taxes in terms of income tax, but it also means less sales tax being raised here. Now, for example, Puerto Rico has much higher sales tax than the states in the continental US, 11.5%. So as professionals and their families leave, all the things they would have naturally bought, their goods, their cars, their petrol, their food, suddenly they're not raising taxes for the government by buying those things. And this causes a deeper problem for the future, because as those professionals leave, the Teachers Association is saying that their classrooms are getting bigger, which means their students aren't getting the education they need. And when it comes to choosing universities, more and more young people are choosing to go to university on the continental US. And we find from studies that when people leave to go to the continental US, they tend to not come back to Puerto Rico, which means in the long run, this country looks like it's dying on its feet.
So it's a bit of a vicious cycle. Okay, Charlotte Dubenskij in San Juan, thank you.